Tuesday night Principal Chiropractic Conference Call, sponsored by DE and Band of Brothers around the world. DE's coming up pretty quick. We got DE August 11th through the 14th. It's in beautiful Marietta, Georgia, in hot Atlanta, America. So if you haven't signed up, you need to sign up quickly. Last week we revealed the speakers. Got a great crew coming in, and they've redone the hotel. It's supposed to be beautiful. Haven't been there. I'm excited to get in there and check it all out. Kat did say that the block has been expired, but if you need to get a room, contact DE, ask for Katrine. She can and will get you set up a room. We still have a few available. So if you haven't signed up, sign up ASAP, and we'll get that done. Again, it's August 11th through the 14th. Need to be there. I just can't tell you how much it's changed my life, and I just need to be there. And I think anybody who is on the fence, just jump over that sucker and sign up tonight. So our speaker tonight is a dear friend of mine, and one of the first people that I contacted when I first coming to DE. We have parallel stories. As most of you know, that I was a big mixer, and Jay was a huge mixer. And we were just talking. I want to get this right, because what a story he has, what a history he has. If you're new to DE, you need to dial into this guy, because he is a chiropractic soldier and a warrior. Started his practice, had several practices in Cincinnati, Ohio, and in 2008 through 2013, got in a major audit and went through a lawsuit with Blue Cross Blue Shield, stood up to the big bad wolf and won. And since then, moved to Rhode Island. Moved to Rhode Island in, I believe he said it was July of 2001, and practiced in Rhode Island. And then in October 21, he was made to have a choice, either get the jab and the vaccine, or stop practicing and close your practice down. So he chose to shut his practice down and move from Rhode Island to New Hampshire. And went to New Hampshire, started working for the Joint. And I remember him talking about that his joint practice went from here to here really high, fast, because of what he's learned at DE. And then he left the Joint, and he's going to open his new practice in Hooksett, New Hampshire, on August 1st, Monday. He's been working his off, doing some sheetrock, doing all the stuff it takes to build a beautiful practice so he can serve God by serving all of his children in a new state, a new town in New Hampshire. So I can't tell you how excited I am to introduce my good friend, Jay Korsen. Jay, take it over, my brother.
Andy, thank you so much for that introduction, which was more than I probably deserved. But I love you, and I appreciate you, and thank you for that. So I was about elbow deep in drywall mud, sheetrocking, and priming walls today, and I got a text that we need somebody to cover for tonight's talk. And I have to say, I got a call to do the talk, to do a talk, right around the time when I had to make a difficult decision in Rhode Island to either stay and face some board charges for not getting a jab, or make a decision to shut my dream practice down overnight, essentially, and start over again in a free state. I don't believe Rhode Island is a free state anymore, but I do want to say this. Many of my friends, chiropractic friends, are still there. Several have left, but the ones that stayed, kudos, because they're the real warriors, not us that left and went somewhere else. So for Shane and for Herb and for Nicole and several other of our band of brothers there that have stayed and weathered it out. Those are the true heroes because they stayed to serve there. I was faced with an interesting dilemma because, as many of you know, I'm not good at staying quiet. I'm pretty vocal. So the advice that we got from the Chiropractic Defense Council, which I want to plug because Baron Hogue, he did a great job for us setting everything up, making it legal so they couldn't shut us down. I had a unique situation because I went on TV to express my disappointment in the healthcare workers' mandates when he was saying fly low. And he said, don't be a keyboard cowboy. And you guys know that on the Chiropractic Casualty Practice page, that's I've been doing that since like 2008. So, or maybe even before that. So I'm not good at being quiet. So I got picked on. And when I called out the state senators and representatives, mysteriously, they said one of my patients complained. They filed a formal complaint with the state, so I had a state board charge, and that started a fun cascade. So I had to have a lawyer. Luckily, it was a constitutional lawyer that was that actually my malpractice insurance company hired this constitutional lawyer for me, and I had already had COVID. So I had a blood test. We saw I had 66 was my antibodies. Most people who get the jab, their antibodies come up around 20. So I had 66, and I thought, well, I'm immune. They can't stop me from practicing if I prove I'm immune. My attorney submitted that for me, and the attorneys for the state of Rhode Island said there is no serological test which will satisfy the mandate. Only proof of a jab of a shot in the arm is what their email said, and that was a tremendous blow. So I had my attorney write back to them and say, since we proved immunity, what exactly does your shot offer? And they wouldn't write back. But my attorney did confirm that if I went into practice on October 1st, now remember, I didn't miss a day. I missed 1 week in the beginning when I was trying to figure out what to do in the beginning of COVID. And then we were there the whole time, the whole 2 years, without any breaks, giving people hugs. If any of you guys gave hugs to people during COVID, it was a tremendous experience, giving them a chiropractic adjustment and unconditional love and a hug. And many of them just broke down crying because they weren't touching anybody and they were in this sensory deprivation, and we were providing that. So apparently the state senators and representatives in Rhode Island were not happy with what I did. So somebody filed a board charge against me and had four charges. That the first charge was, and they have to like give it to you exactly like the person submitted. And the charges were, he don't believe in vaccine, because they have to write exactly like the complaint. He ain't vaccinated. He had COVID. Believe it or not, that was a board offense. I had to defend myself because I had COVID. Apparently, that was one of the charges we had to defend, that I had COVID. I didn't know it was against the law to get a virus, but there it was. And he doesn't wear a mask with everyone. Guilty as charged. If someone was uncomfortable with a mask, I took it off with them. If somebody wanted a mask, I put it on. Not happily, but I put it on. And so those are the four board charges. So here it was, September, first week in September, they said if you're practicing October 1st without the jab, that it was a $300 per day fine, 30 to 90 days in jail, and a felony charge. And guess who the biggest target in Rhode Island was? Because I was a keyboard cowboy and I called the senators and representatives out on TV, and the governor and the director of the Department of Health, which in retrospect might have been a bad idea, but it was me. It was the right thing to do at the time to tell the truth. Tell the truth about what was going on, my truth, maybe not their truth, but I told it. And my constitutional attorney said, yeah, if you go into the practice October 1st, they are going to fine you. You may face jail time. And if you get a felony charge, you may lose your license in New Hampshire and Florida. Those were the two free states I was considering moving to if it got that bad. Interestingly, one of my old band of brothers, who hadn't shown up in a couple of years, basically put on his website that if people didn't get the jab, that they should be arrested. So that was sort of that was what was going on. That was what was in the air at the time. So in anger, because I grew up in a Sicilian house, a Russian and Sicilian house, I took every single thing in that office of 20 years and I threw them into a dumpster. I wanted a fresh start. Luckily, one of my friends decided to take my chiropractic tables, which I got back. He knew I would need them. He took them to Ohio and he stored them there. And when I told him I was going back into practice, I bought it back from him. The tables, I just had them shipped back for $500. So that was great. Drew, if you're watching, thank you. So angrily, besides the American flag, which I kept, my front desk computer, the chairs I left there, and everything else, like everything else. Imagine everything in your office, hauled it into a dumpster. My wife actually was worried about me because I was hauling like big, heavy tables over my head, over the side of the dumpster, and into the dumpster. And when I was done, there were bare walls and carpeting, and the chairs were sitting there. And that was the end of that chapter. And I sold my office condo, and luckily we sold into a very favorable housing market. So my wife and I had to make a decision. We've got enough money in the bank. Do we want to retire? And I considered it. I considered retiring, but when chiropractic is your first, God is my first love. My family is my second love. But when chiropractic ranks in the top three, because it certainly is number three, you can't just sit around. When you've got two hands to offer, you can't just retire. Not until I drop. So I had an offer to go, as Andy said, to work for the joint. I didn't really want to work for the joint, but they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So for 3.5 days a week, everybody asks, how much do you make at the joint? So I have no problem telling you. So for 3.5 days a week, they paid me $100,000 a year. So whatever that comes to, it's like $6,000 a month or so, or what did it come to? Yeah, like around $6,000 or $7,000 a month. So was it eight? Oh, that was take home. So it must have been like $8,500 a month. So my personal opinion is that the joint might be a good opportunity for some people. It'll tell you if you can serve somebody else, another owner, which they're usually not chiropractors, or you're that good of a servant that you'll be able to serve this person. But I found out great things about myself at the joint. So when I got there, I applied the DE principles, which don't go over well with corporate, but the owner of my franchise was okay with it. So I applied the DE principles. I made a couple changes in the office, brought a kids table in to make it a little more family friendly because they are not, in my opinion, family friendly. And we took it from seeing 11 people a day to over 50 people a day. We took it from about $11,000 in collections to about $30,000 in collections, and we did that in 4 months. So that wasn't too bad. The uh, the owner and I had words when I wanted to leave. I gave him 8 weeks notice that I was leaving, and when I wouldn't come back and work Saturdays, he told me uh, you were overpaid and you underperformed. So be prepared for that if you work for in a corporate setting. Uh, I just found that style of practice, even though I did membership for a long time, it just wasn't congruent for me anymore. They had a mold problem in there, so they couldn't resolve. So they put me in, and they have three offices that put me in the two other offices that weren't moldy for my last 8 weeks. They have a weird culture. The culture is that they don't have enough employees. So when the front desk person doesn't show up, the wellness coordinator doesn't show up, you've got to do everything, the front desk and your job. And when you're building the practice, I think around 30 or 40 patient visits a day. You're supposed to get a second chiropractor in there, but there's no way they just don't have enough help. So they sort of expect you to work 6 days a week, and if you're on salary, that's not such a hot idea. So my advice, if you go to work for the joint, is I would ask for $80 to $100 an hour minimum. Don't accept the salary because you'll be asked to work more hours than you bargained for. So that's my joint story. So I left there, and now it's time to open my 10th office. It's kind of weird just saying that. So, but I have, this is the 10th office is it's going to be a unique place because I've had an opportunity to learn all the mistakes in the other offices. I had 7 offices in Cincinnati, and after my house was blown over in a tornado, and one of my offices was, uh, we decided to have a fire sale. So the doctors that were working for me, they bought their office or they were fired, and I closed it. But all of them bought it. Some of them I financed, and we moved to Rhode Island. So that you already know my Rhode Island story. So again, another fire. I in 2008 there was another fire. The Blue Cross wanted $500,000 for me and said I committed fraud. And after 5 years in federal court, we proved that Blue Cross actually committed fraud. They said they were sorry to me, like 1.65 million times. They said they were sorry. My attorney thought he deserved 1.5 million I'm sorry's. So I was left with very little, but that's a good lesson too. The only person that wins a lawsuit is a lawyer. So don't go fighting City Hall just to prove a point. You'll win if you're right, if you're honest and you were truthful. You'll win, but in the end, it's just not worth it. So that's my legal advice. But here I am, taking all the best parts of my dream practice in Rhode Island and all the other parts of my mixer practice in 7 mixer practices in Cincinnati. And we're doing things. I'm creating my perfect practice. I mean, the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it sounds, the way it smells. It's just a perfect practice. I looked and looked and looked for a space and couldn't find the perfect space. And God provided the perfect space. The one building that everybody knows in town had a space open and nobody knew it. And I was taking care of somebody at the joint. See, everything happens for a reason. And he said, when I told him I wanted to be in Hooksett, he said, my mom has a building that is most people know about. I'm going to ask her about the one space that's left. And sure enough, it worked out. There's 60,000 cars that pass by my sign on Hooksett Road in Hooksett every day. So it's a 1,600 square foot, just beautiful, comfortable, wonderful office that we're building. And we're going to love people in there. We're going to give, love, serve, and do in that office. And it's going to be extraordinary. It's going to be an extraordinary thing. I literally can't wait for Monday. I can't wait to start adjusting people. We have 18 people signed up for our first day already. I opened up online booking. And we need Google reviews. So go to Bright Light Chiropractic, Google that in Hooksett, New Hampshire, and give us a review if you get a chance. That would be great. So it's going to be wonderful. So Back to Health Chiropractic is gone, and Bright Light Chiropractic is in. And I just wanted a complete new start. And that's really what we got here. So it's just going to be a wonderful thing. And opening up, I wrote about it as I was doing it, like I usually do. And there are a lot of challenges. You know, you got to start early, and you're going to run into roadblocks when you open a new office. And there's going to be problems with the building inspector. There's going to be the fire inspector. There's going to be lining up the contractors and the electrician, the sign guy, and all the other moving parts that you're going to need to make sure that you have available. But I wrote about all that, so I'm not going over all that. I can help anybody. I'll be glad to help anybody that's starting a new practice and help them through it and how to build it out. So don't hesitate to contact me. You know exactly how much DE chiropractors charge other DE chiropractors for advice, right? We do it because we love you and we want you to be successful, because we can't do it by ourselves. So we do it together. And so anybody can contact me. I did write lots of books, 3 books about running a chiropractic cash-only practice. So any questions you have on that, don't hesitate to ask. Just ask. You know, I never charge for anything. And really, the only reason that I was able to write the books is because Steve Judson, Dean Satilli, and a dozen other people that I'll forget to mention helped me. So it's just a matter of when you receive it, it's just about passing it along. And I would hope that as you become successful at DE, that you pass it along as well. So what are we doing for marketing? Everybody wants to know about marketing. I got a couple of text messages today about what are you doing to market? So here's what I found in our area. The Google reviews, they're big. People are going to come to you from Google. So you can do a Google AdWords ad, but just get your patients to write nice things on Google review your office, and you'll see a cascade of people coming in. Remember, I'm not open yet, and we've got 18 people scheduled for Monday. So if I could do it, you could do it, because I'm not that good, and I'm sure you guys are better at it. Facebook, do interesting. So here's what I think is a great idea. This is what I did for the joint, and I'll be doing it for my office. Make interesting TikTok videos. They're short. They're fun. They have a song associated with them. That get your message across. Do lots of them, and then just share it to your Facebook page. Share it as many places as you can. Start getting followers on your TikTok so that you can get. And don't go doing the cracking videos. You don't need to do that. You can do other fun videos. You don't need to go cracking people. No good comes from adjusting on video. So I'll leave that up to you, but those are my 2 cents. What's the best type of marketing there is? And it's mouth wide open. If you're walking around and you don't have 100 cards in your pocket, and your cards don't have your picture on it, you're making a huge mistake. If your card doesn't have your picture on it, if you get meet 5 people and they all give you a card, and at the end of the day, when you're sorting through them, and they're just small writing, those get tossed away, right? Those just get thrown away. But if your picture's on it and they remember you and you made a good impression, they're going to save that card. So put your picture on your card. It's worth it. Hand out the cards, mouth wide open. You should know every business on your street, a mile north and a mile south, a mile east and a mile west. If you haven't stopped in there and handed out your card or an offer to them, do it. So how did I get 142 new patients my first month at the joint? It wasn't because they were advertising on cable TV. It was just mouth wide open, and I went and I spoke to people. handed out cards on my days off. So do that. If you have not hung a sign in your office that says RYF, hang the sign. It doesn't cost anything. Draw it with a magic marker. It means refer your friends and family when somebody asks. But when somebody asks, what's RYF mean? They're going to remind you to ask for a referral by reading the sign. You're going to say, run you fool, RYF, run you fool. And when they laugh, you're going to say, no, I'm only kidding. It means refer your friends and family. And then you're going to hand them 2 cards to hand to somebody that they care about, that they know needs your care. Every time someone asks about RYF, hang it on your wall. It's one of the biggest practice builders I know. And they work. So that's really, in a nutshell, that's my marketing. Thank you, Jamie. I see your message. And everybody else that I didn't mention, thanks. I get messages also on my chiropractic cash only practice page from people who are having a tough time growing, or people are struggling financially. Like, I got a text today from somebody they're making under $10,000, and they've been in practice a while per month, and that's just not going to float the boat, okay? So you got to find the hole in your bucket. If people are leaving, it's because you gave them a treatment plan instead of a care plan. So ditch the treatment plan. We're not treating anything. We are caring and loving on these people. We are detecting and correcting subluxations with a simple, principled, scientific adjustment. That's it. We don't treat anything. So don't give them a treatment plan. That's why people are leaving, because you gave them a treatment plan. Give them a care plan. And here is the care plan that I've used since 2008. You do the math. 14 years. Your care plan is once a week for the rest of your life until one of us dies. And if I die first, you need to find a new chiropractor. And if you mean that sincerely, not like some gimmick sales tactic, if you mean that sincerely, because that's how often you get your own spine checked, and that's how often that you check your children and your spouse. I honestly can't remember for 30 years more than a week that's gone by where I haven't checked my wife. I can't remember more than 2 weeks that I haven't checked my son. And he lives in Boston. I was either driving an hour and a half to him to Boston, and now it's exactly an hour, 20 minutes from here in New Hampshire. So, and his fiance now. First time I met his fiance, guess what she got? She got an adjustment, because I always bring my table with me. I'm adjusting it. So if once a week for the rest of your life, until one of us dies, and if they die, they have to find a new chiropractor, resonates with you, stop giving people treatment plans. Start giving them a care plan. Start caring for them, understanding, knowing them, creating deep, meaningful relationships in the 3 to 5 or 10 minutes if you want. If you want to just talk to them for a while, that's great. However long you're spending, create a deep, meaningful relationship with them. When I was seeing 200 people a day and broke myself, I thought that was the goal, right? That's the goal. You see 700 people a week, that's the goal. Until my L3 disc decided it didn't want to play nice anymore, and it tore. And then when Jesus miraculously healed me without surgery, because they couldn't find the torn disc on the second MRI, I decided not to put my hands on 200 people a day anymore. I realized that an adjustment is not an unlimited resource. It is a limited resource because we are limited by our limitation of matter. But now my goal is to see 50 miracles every day that I'm in practice. I'm going to put my hands on them, yes, I'm going to give them, I'm going to remove the subluxation. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, but I expect a miracle every time. And that's a shift in my approach to practice now. And I'm going to encourage you that if you feel like if you're seeing high volume, like when I say high volume, like high volume, 150, 200 people a day, and you feel like you have to wake up and climb Mount Everest every day. You summit, you come back down. Tomorrow you got to go back up to summit Mount Everest and come back down because that's how it feels. That's how it felt to me. And if that's the way you live in your life, that's why chiropractors die young. And I through this gift of a torn disc, I realized I need to slow down and focus on miracles, charge more per visit, which people are okay with. Don't get caught up on your fees. I've done every fee possible. I've done a box on the wall. People paid what they could afford it to the box on the wall. I've done membership. I've done car care cards where you sell 5, 10, 15, 20 visit packages. And what I've come to is a simple fee system, a 50, 40, 30 fee system. People pay $50 a visit if I haven't seen them in a month. If they have been in within the month, they pay 40. And if they're in the military or over 65, it's 30. Simple, simple. It shouldn't be any more difficult than buying a loaf of bread. So if you're in your office, getting an adjustment is more difficult than buying a loaf of bread. You get the bread, you bring it to the register, you pay for it, you leave, right? That's it. That's chiropractic cash only practice in a nutshell. So if it's more difficult than that, think about revamping. I'm running out of things to tell you guys. My mind is already on tomorrow going in to the primed walls that I have and putting eggshell paint over the top and capping the walls with an oak shelf capping and putting a top shelf on my front desk. And pretty much that's it, and we can open. Our final inspection is on Friday, and we'll be setting everything up, putting stuff on the walls, making sure my Sonos speakers are positioned properly for music. My 60-inch TV is going to be playing, instead of fish tanks, we're going to play the loop from the Georgia Aquarium, where the underwater, the big ocean tank. So we'll do that. It's a lot easier to maintain. So you learn things from your last practice, and it's going to be a special thing. I'm looking forward to serving God's people again with the love and the caring that I learned at DE, with the principles that I was able to build the joint practice here with. So I owe everything I have to DE. Here's another simple tip, the 10% tip, which is just grow your practice. If you've been in practice a while and you feel stagnant, grow it by 10%, just 10%. If you want to double your practice because you're not making enough money, like the gal that I spoke to today over Messenger, just 10%. Increase just by 10% a month. And you know what happens in 12 months? Your practice doubles. It actually grows 120%. So think of the 10% principle. 10x your practice over time to wherever you feel comfortable, just like I was talking about. I'm going to encourage you not to take insurance anymore. It's a pain in the neck, and you know it. And I haven't accepted insurance since 2008, and that's part of the reason why I smile most of the time. And it's how I was able to make a great living for my family and myself. So you don't need insurance. Just do principled chiropractic. Tell them the truth. Having a mandatory orientation, new patient orientation, so everybody that starts knows why they should stay for the rest of their life until one of you dies. And if you die, they'll know why they should see another chiropractor. Make a mandatory orientation. It's so important. Hang a sign that says no insurance necessary. Isn't that awesome? And we do. We have a sign right at the front desk that says no insurance necessary. Isn't that awesome? Because we don't accept insurance. It's not necessary. Our fees are affordable to everybody. So I'm gonna end because my love and appreciation for the people at DE that have poured into me. Many of you have chimed in and written on the bottom of the screen. And I just want to say thank you to all of you because I am who I am because of DE. So Dr. Sid once said, once you become centered on your major purpose, the very power of your presence will prevail and success will follow. So, my question to you tonight as I leave, because I think I've been on here about 30 minutes, is have you really become centered on your major purpose? And what is it? Is it serving God's children? Serving God? Or is it making money? Is practice fun anymore? And if it isn't, are you really doing what you love or are you doing what you have to do? And I'm here to tell you, you can do what you love and you can create your dream practice. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't suffer in a practice that's a drudgery. Create your dream practice at a unique opportunity. Most people say, oh, you're a hero for shutting down your practice and leaving and sticking to your guns. No, I'm not. People that stayed, those are the heroes. When you push an animal into the corner, it's a fight or flight. And I decided, based upon what I've learned in my life, it was time to flee. It was time to seek refuge in a free state where we live free or die here in New Hampshire. And I love that. So find your major purpose, center on it. And your power, you're just your presence. It'll emanate from you like a radio broadcasting system. You're not going to need to advertise anymore because that broadcasting system is going to go way out into the universe and it's going to attract all the people that you want in your practice. So I just have to say one last time, I really, really love you guys. And I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to be there, but if you're watching this video and you want that passion, you want to find your major purpose, get to DE August 11th through the 14th. It's not like an option. It's like a need to. If you're floundering, if you're not there yet, if you're not bubbling over with joy in practice, you need DE. And here's the truth. DE needs you too. Because us old folks that have been in practice 30 years, we're not going to be around forever. And if you're watching this now and you're a new graduate or you've only been out a few years, we need you. We need you to spread the message. So get to DE, soak it up, take it home, and run your perfect dream practice. I love and appreciate you guys. Good night.
Jay frickin' Korsen. That was awesome, my brother.
I love you, man.
I love you more. Hey, listen, there's so many nuggets I wrote down. Here's what I suggest everybody do. Everybody, tomorrow when Kat puts out the replay of this, take this into your office, get your team and your staff together and watch this and take notes on this stuff. RFF,
RYF.
RYF. I'm sorry, all these things you wrote that you said. I don't care if you're starting your new practice for the first time, or you've been in practice for 34 years, whatever. There's things that you can plug in that will help you out so much. This was awesome, my brother. I so much appreciate you doing this. And I want to kind of go back to what you said about giving back. Because we were at our Band of Brothers last night, and there were 3 people who had never been to DE. There's 2 of them were their first time at Band of Brothers, and and another one had come to DE and left, went to a coach, and he came back and he's like, I was afraid to ask you questions, and because you're so busy. I'm like, brother, that's what it's all about. We all got so much from DE, we can't help but give back, and we're not going to charge you a daggum thing for it. So my God, you hit a home run, and everybody who's out there listening, as you can see, it's getting dark where I am. We're going to shut it down pretty quick, but literally go back and watch this again. Take notes, apply it. If you can apply anything he wrote down tonight or gave you tonight, it's going to make your practice and your life better. I can't tell you how I love you, man, and how much I appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear how awesome your practice is going in the next few weeks.
Thanks,
I
brother.
love you, man. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
All right, everybody, have a great night. We will see you at DE, and sign up. And again, watch this video 2 or 3 times because there's gold in there.